quite honestly, I mean, we did grow up singing at home. We sang in church when I was small and those kind of things. But, as I look at the landscape of the last several years, I don't see a lot of family worship happening. But I am seeing a little bit of a move now more toward that, and a little bit more emphasis being placed on family worship. And maybe the pandemic has spurred some of that because we can't gather as we would have at church. What have you seen as far as family worship goes, and what advice could you give families on that?
Right. I think you're exactly right. I think that the pandemic, for all that it brought negatively, I think it recognized that if families were going to worship, they needed to do it together from their homes, and that's a beautiful thing, because they should be doing those things anyway. And my doctoral thesis was actually on the topic of family worship. So we've tried a whole lot of things in our home. We've tried about everything. Some worked great, some didn't. But fundamentally, if I were just teaching a family from scratch, do three things: read, pray, and sing, right? Read the scriptures, pray together, and sing together, right? And if you don't feel comfortable singing, praise, right? Just offer words of adoration and praise to God together. I think for us, the most beneficial things have been participation. Don't make it just the dad or the mom being involved, but have the kids read, ask them questions, get them talking. Our most formational family times together spiritually are my kids just coming up out of randomly and asking me really hard questions, right? and again, I'm a guy that's had rich theological education, but they still give me some stump questions sometimes, right? And if I don't know the answer, I'll say, I don't know, but let's begin to explore that together, right? Let's read some articles, let's read some books on this, and come back and talk about it together. And it's not always easy, but again, you want to have those conversations. And I think informality, doesn't have to be a formal environment. Sit with your family in your living room. There's times we would listen to a song, and then we would reflect on, okay, how does this song reflect God's truth? What does the song say? But just different ways of engaging. When they were younger, I'd have them draw pictures of the stories, or I would give them different characters to play in the stories, right? Whatever you can do at different age points for your family to get them doing and engaging and acting out and living out the faith in those worship times has been key for me. I'll say too, but because this has been such a big key issue, I'm going to have a webinar, I think it's March 8th, which is a Thursday, and we're going to do it on the topic of family worship, just to increase, to give people some insight about how to go about starting that in a home, because it is such a key facet of what we do.
That's great. And Hannah, if you'll make sure we got that link, we can help publicize that and get that out there. I think that's very important. What you said was great advice on reading the scriptures, praying together, singing together. Any one of those things might seem a little awkward at first, but if you get into it and will just push through that initial awkwardness, the benefits that will be reaped from it and the impact that it will have on everyone, not just the children, but the adults as well, I think are well worth the benefit of pushing through that awkwardness.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with you on that. I think the recognition that there will be many occasions that family worship is hard, right?
Right.
It's not, you don't do this because it's easy. You do it because it's fundamentally important to your family and to their development. And at times, our most beautiful family worship times were just daddy confessing before God where I failed my family, right? Mm-hmm. Setting that example of just showing them in a small group environment what you're doing in your own personal worship life. So they're seeing that model. Otherwise, how are they mentored? How do they experience? How do they learn spiritual disciplines if they're not being taught and modeled by their own parents? So, and again, that's not to say that I've been perfect in that every time in my life. I'm not. And I think families have to recognize that, listen, oh no, I messed up and didn't do it for the last week. Well, do it tonight. Or I didn't do it the last month. Well, do it tonight. Don't allow you messing up and failing to do intentional family times to derail you from ever doing it again because you feel guilty about it. It's hard work, but it's worth it to engage with your family in worship time.